Good morning, friends in the Yadkin Valley. This is People Doing Good for Others. I'm Gary York, and I'm grateful that you're part of our outreach and encourage your friends to do the same. To remember that there's that of God in all of us, and we're here to serve. And thank you for being part of WIFM's outreach and ministry. My featured guest today is Ms. Jana Elliott. She's the Executive Director of the Shepherd's House, a landmark in Mount Airy, and I've met her at their grand opening, and we've been looking forward to these special moments. So, Ms. Elliott, welcome to WIFM.
Thank you so much, Gary. Appreciate you having me.
And it's grateful to have you in Elkin, and we've been talking about our friends in Yadkin and Wilkes, and so there are a lot of helping hands in this area.
Yes.
So there's people that understand about service and how important it is. So you are this director, and when did you become the director of the Shepherd's House?
So I have been the director at the Shepherd's House for just a year now. I actually came in April of last year.
Okay. Tell us about your youth years and some of the folks, maybe the mentors that might have helped you along the way.
So I grew up in Rural Hall in Forsyth County. Went to Rural Hall Elementary School. I'm a Bulldog. I'm back from Rural Hall, and went to North Forsyth High School, graduated, and went on to Salem College. Was very, very thankful for my education there. Really, the mentoring happened in my high school career. I had a gentleman named Millard James who I benefited under his tutelage and his mentorship. He was the teacher at the radio, television, broadcasting class at the Career Center in Forsyth County. Wonderful institution as part of that school system.
Wow.
And Millard showed me around radio stations. I thought I was going to be you, Gary. I thought I was going to be a broadcaster. But he said, no, you've got a career in communications and public relations. And so that's where I headed my schooling towards at Salem. God directed me to Clear Channel Radio.
Yeah.
I had a career there for quite a few years in marketing and sales. Really enjoyed it, loved making those connections with folks and really building relationships. And at some point in that part of my life, God called my husband and I to foster. And we decided as part of that journey that I needed to change my career and really focus on our family. And little did I know that was how I would be launching my work in the nonprofit industry. We started with a group of others, an organization called Heroes Helping Heroes, and worked with foster, adopted, and at-risk kids. I became the executive director of that organization, and met folks later who worked with the Shepherd's House. We had children from the Shepherd's House who became...
So your connection to Mount Airy and the Shepherd's House...
came through that nonprofit.
Wow.
It sure did. We had kids that came to our summer programs and our camps, and I just remember being so impressed with the work that the Shepherd's House was doing and how it really was impacting the families and the children that I saw for that brief moment at summer camp. And it has always amazed me how God puts you in the right place at the right moment, and He makes all those little pathways in your life just come together for what His next intention for you is. If you're paying attention, He'll pave that pathway for you. Absolutely.
As I heard a minister say the other day, be where God is, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's all you need to do.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, I'm with Ms. Jana Elliott, the Executive Director at the Shepherd's House. Give us some history of the Shepherd's House.
So it has been around for 19 years now. It started on Rockford Street, Little House on Rockford Street is what we call it, right across from the Andy Griffith Theater. It was an 18-bed facility and operated in that capacity for those entire 19 years, working with families, working with single women. At one point, there was conversation, I think, about maybe opening up a men's shelter, a domestic violence arm, things like shelter arm. But really the core of that program has always been working with families and single women and really helping restore their hope, rebuilding their lives. That's their mission statement, rebuilding, helping them see their worth and their value, and retraining their thought process, that they are worthy and that there is a hope and a future out there for them to just
Worthy.
grab hold of. Absolutely.
Wow. Ms. Elliott, give us a typical person that comes to you. It's kind of paint a picture, if you will, for us about that lady or that person or that family, just an idea so we might better understand.
Sure. Our clients, as individuals, as humans, we all have different backgrounds and different things that have brought us to moments of crisis in our life, but that is a unifying theme. All the individuals that have come to us at some point of crisis in their life. They may have ended a relationship with another individual and it's left them homeless. Homeless individuals. I've had some individuals that have come through that their home has burnt to the ground and they have been left homeless. Some folks are coming out of substance abuse or mental health facilities or maybe have been involved with the justice facility.
So a person could be in a rehab center and come straight to Shepherd's house?
Yes, or come straight out of jail. We've had some folks that have come out of the justice system and come straight into the Shepherd's house. That's not always typical, but it does happen. We are a place for second chances and new beginnings, and so we
second and third and fourth.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely. So as they come into the facility, our case managers just embrace them. We try to learn about them, who they are, what's brought them to the facility, what's brought them into our care and into our case management plan. And so at that point, they're looking for, our case managers are looking for, what are those things that we can connect them with, those services, those resources that will help them to reestablish their healthy life and really just make a fresh start for themselves.
Start.
Yeah.
In that start, Ms. Elliott, will we help with education or will we?
Absolutely.
What?
Yeah. So
Life skills?
Absolutely. All of that. Absolutely. Financial management, financial planning.
Financial management.
We are so blessed in this new facility. We've been blessed with a classroom space. I laugh. You and I have talked about this when we came from our little house on Rockford Street, and we're now in this great big house on Spring Street. We do have a classroom in that facility, and we were very, very thankful. We had a wonderful sponsor who provided computers for us. So our goal is to have classes, really dedicated classes that will enable our guests to enrich their lives, enrich their learning skills. We have parenting classes that happen there. We have a financial management class, a real curriculum-based class that's taken through an 8-week module and learning how to just
8 weeks.
8-week module,
Wow.
learning how to manage their finances. And it's something as simple as creating a grocery list and really living within the means of your budget, learning how to create a savings account and what that looks like, really looking at your debt to income ratio and making sure that you're planning ahead for your future, that you're really preventing yourself from going back into a situation where you don't have enough money to pay your rent or your utilities, or you have to not buy your medication this month because you have to feed your children. What are those things that we need to really plan for and save for? So education, to me, is a very big factor. If we have folks that don't have their GED, I'm working right now with an education provider that may come in and do GED classes for our folks there on site. Just anything that we can provide, again, parenting classes to really make sure that those folks that, with my background in the foster care world, knowing that a lot of those skills are not, they're just not second nature to some folks. It's learned.
Nature. Boy,
yeah,
that's
it's learned. Yeah, it is learned.
Second nature.
If you have not been modeled the appropriate way to take care of your children and to nurture them and parent them, some folks just don't know. I mean, you just don't.
They don't know what they don't know.
They don't know what they're doing. Yeah, and they're doing the best they can, but sometimes it's maybe not the right thing to do. So we're very conscious of that as well. It's just, modeling love and modeling grace.
Modeling love.
Yeah, and grace.
Wow. The typical client how long will that person stay usually?
Yes. So the goal would be a 3-month stay, 90
3 months.
days.
Okay.
That would be the goal. Unfortunately, in the climate that we're in now with the real estate industry, I'm sure you've heard housing is at a premium, and there is a very true housing shortage. Rental prices have gone up, and then a lot of the properties, when we first went into this, a lot of investors were buying up some of those low-income properties, flipping them for an investment, and now they're out of the range of those lower-income families. So they may stay a little longer than 3 months.
Thank you for that.
Absolutely.
I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
it gets out of the range.
Out of their price range. And so you're left with a community of folks who, they may make $60,000 a year, and there's really, if that's a 2-parent household, that's a wonderful salary for someone to make, but they may not have a house in their price range that they can afford. So they're looking at an apartment. Well, if there's no available apartments, what are they going to do then? So, and then you have a lot of single women that are barely making $25,000 a year. So what are you going to find in this market? There's not a lot out there.
I'm with Ms. Jana Elliott. She's the executive director of the Shepherd's House, which is a facility that's almost 20 years old, and they're in a new facility, and we had 18 beds before our capacity since we moved.
Yes, so we are in a building now that we could have 64 guests, so an exponential jump in numbers for us. So again, another just joke that I've made, as we moved into the big house, it doesn't mean that we're going to have 64 guests right off the bat, because I don't think my staff could fathom that, going from 18 to 64 guests. That would just be overwhelming for all of us, because we didn't increase our staff numbers, along with that. We have to do that slowly as we develop our model and our efficiency scales. So right now we have about a 25 to 28 guest capacity. We're giving ourselves time, since we just moved in mid-February.
Wow.
To get our case managers fully acclimated to their new caseloads, because what we don't want to be is a Band-Aid. We don't want to be the, love them and leave them kind of girlfriend or boyfriend. We want to be folks who are truly helping someone heal and really creating an opportunity for our clients to be whole and be able to walk on their own without the threat of them having to come back, because we've just Band-Aided. Their issue. We're not going to be that.
Ms. Elliott,
place.
Your staff share
Yes.
the size, different roles, description of job titles, if you will.
Sure. We have 10 full-time staff members and 1 part-time staff member that works at the Shepherd's House. We have me, the executive director. I have an operations or facilities guy who is working there, Troy Walkup. Jessica Stevens is my shelter manager. Then we have 3 case managers, Destiny Bottoms, Robin Martin, and Polly Simmons. And then we have several support staff. So our support staff members, Kelly, Jonique, Michelle, Miss Bonnie, we all work together to make sure that we're covering shifts 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They're not only are they running the shelter and providing case management, which is like a social services type of coordinator that's helping connect them, but they're arranging transportation for our clients, because many of these folks don't have a vehicle to get themselves back and forth to work or to doctor's appointments and things like that. They're connecting them with, again, mental health providers, substance abuse treatments facilities, any number of partners that may be working with them in any arena to help them achieve stability. Many of our folks are coming to us not necessarily undocumented, but they may have lost their birth certificate or lost their social security card or lost their ID, so we're having to reconnect them with those places to receive their vital record information before they can ever get a job. So there's a lot of different things that are happening there in the facility, and a lot of different supports that are being put in place. Those same staff members are taking turns in the commercial kitchen that we have.
Now 10 and a half.
Yeah, that are really working.
And 26 patient or clients?
Clients, yes,
Okay.
yes.
And it can have 64.
And we'll
So you
we'll
went
be
from
there.
the big house, the little house on the hill, to the big
to
house.
the big house, yeah.
Well, I was there for your ribbon cutting kind of, and what an exciting moment for Mount Airy.
Absolutely.
And, benefit far and wide. Now let's talk about how folks can get involved.
Yes.
How can a client find the Shepherd's House? Tell us about that.
So we would connect typically with the client. They are calling to request occupancy. Our typical client calls in, speaks to a support staff member who takes a report, basically a contact report from them to get their basic information, their name, telephone number, what their situation is. Are they truly homeless? Are they involved in a domestic violence situation?
Is that homeless the key?
Yes, homeless is the key.
Okay.
And then we screen the individual for, are we really the appropriate facility for them?
Yes.
If they're involved in a domestic violence situation, we are not the appropriate facility for them. We don't have the security measures in place to handle that and keep those individuals out of harm's way. So we refer those folks out to partner agencies in the not in the region, not really close by, but then if it's a single male, we don't take single males, so we again would refer that individual out to different partner agencies. This hasn't, so just you go through that contact list with them. That information is then provided to our shelter manager, who looks at our open bed space, and she identifies, if it's a family of 6 that are calling in and we don't have a family room available, then we may have to wait list that family. We try everything we can to make sure that we're not having a family waiting that long. But, that was the deal in the little house.
If
you only
an
had so many
individual
beds.
Listening this morning wants to be a contributor, do you have volunteers?
We do have volunteers. Oh, we love our volunteers. We have volunteers that join us. We have been super blessed with young people coming in from the high school and doing administrative work for us and assisting us
Oh my goodness.
in areas like that. They can't necessarily work directly with our clients, but we have let some of those individuals shadow our support staff. And there's kids out there that want to be in the social services field, and they really need to know what that looks like. And so we've welcomed.
So they can get that understanding or that internship through the Shepherd's House.
Are very, very welcome. We welcome them in.
What if you want to give? What if you have some money?
Love for you to give. We have a website that you can donate directly on the website via PayPal. You can write a check directly to the Shepherd's House or to the Greater Mount Airy Ministry of Hospitality. If you can't remember that mouthful, at the Shepherd's House is fine. Our mailing address is P.O. Box 1722, Mount Airy, North Carolina. Zip code 27030.
And you're on Spring Street.
We are on Spring Street, and we are on Facebook, so you can reach out to us via Facebook Messenger. Facebook, it's just the Shepherd's House of Mount Airy. The website address is shepherdshousema.org. So there's any number of ways that you can get a hold of us. Our telephone number is 336-786-1420. And feel free to give us a call. We're happy to, if you want to just hang out.
Really make it clear that we're a nonprofit.
Yes.
And we depend on help.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just tell you, I didn't understand. I figured income stream, but it's about people with giving hearts helping the Shepherd's House.
Absolutely. We rely 100% on donations, grants, and charity. We're really, really very, very dependent. Fundraisers are always wonderful. And we encourage folks, if you want to do a fundraiser for us, on your birthday or a peer-to-peer fundraiser, please do that amongst yourselves. If you have a heart for the homeless, if you have a heart for the hungry, if you have a heart for the downtrodden, please take it upon yourself to raise funds for us. Send those in, drop them via express mail, whatever.
Great example,
yes.
I guess in tandem to what you were saying, in the very seat you're in, Art Gibble with Goodwill, and he said we're about second chances, third and fourth
Yes,
and more
yes.
if need be.
Absolutely.
That's our call.
Absolutely. We are a ministry of grace. You know,
A ministry of grace.
you're not going to get it right the first time.
We say in my
every time.
church that there is no condemnation in Jesus Christ.
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. No.
Well, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having
Jana
me.
Elliott, you just brought a nice spirit here.
Well, thank you so
Thank
much.
you very much.
I
And I'm
appreciate
glad you would come over here and let us be a resource.
Thank
if we
you.
can help you, if you need some airtime or whatever, we would be generous and gracious.
Thank you.
How's that?
Thank you so much. That's very much appreciated, Gary. Thank you so much.
Thank
what a
you very
blessing
much.
you are.
Bye-bye.
Absolutely.
Thank you for joining us for People Doing Good for Others, presented by Chick-fil-A of Mount Airy. Please join us again next Saturday morning and encourage your friends to listen as we highlight people doing good for others. Produced by 100.9 WIFM and Yadkin Valley Broadcasting.